I'd like to give you a brief introduction to the current work in the reference architecture work group, and at the end tell you about our efforts to find an easy way to make non-E-ARK conformant e-archiving solutions practically or quasi-E-ARK conformant. So first about the reference architecture. As you may know from our past events, the reference architecture was developed during the previous e-archiving project. It aims to help archival institutions, solution providers, and other stakeholders to position their digital archiving processes, tools, services by providing a reference point. It also helps us in positioning our own specification software and use cases within the digital archiving ecosystem. Standard-based and strictly follows the Archimate language. Version 1.0 of the reference architecture was published at the end of the previous e-archiving project in the form of a web application. This online version is available from the e-ARK Knowledge Center, and the Archimate model itself can be downloaded from the download section of them. This first version is focusing on the motivation aspect and strategy and business layers of the model. The motivation aspect covers the stakeholders, drivers, goals, and principles. Strategy layer, mostly the capabilities that are needed, and the business layer, the business functions, business processes to realize these capabilities. We have also added an application layer, but just to position our own tools, specification, software elements within the reference. The web application format provides us with several options that the pure Archimate view cannot offer. The model is extended with several sections, including a download section. This is where the Archimate model can be downloaded from, as well as our separate principles document. When defining principles, we followed the TOGAF recommendations and decided it was better to create a separate downloadable document with the description of the principles. So about the current work. We have started to work on two parallel topics. Aligning the model with the new version of the e-archiving maturity model, and aligning it with the e-archiving by design, approach. So first about the archiving by design. This is a new approach to information system design, management, and governance. In the forefront of the initiative are the EAG Archiving by Design Working Group and the Dutch National Archives with its DUTO framework. The Archiving by Design approach aimed to break down the strict borders between information producers and archives. In the EAG Working Group white paper on Archiving by Design, the problem statement says, digital transformation keeps altering the playing field in which we operate as an archival records management community. Information is everywhere, and its growth is exponential. Information takes on new forms and is used and reused in novel ways, utilizing new technologies. Traditional approaches for archives and records management no longer provide to be effective in the public sector. Information created or received might never reach the dedicated archival or records management system that we have created. And then it defines archiving by design as follows. During the design or adjustment of information systems, the appropriate measures are taken to ensure that the information becomes and stay sustainably accessible. Sustainable access is actually becoming an equivalent term for archiving by design. Sustainable accessibility, according to this approach and white paper, consists of 6 high-level quality requirements. Sustainably accessible information is findable, available, readable, interpretable, and reliable, and future-proof, meaning information can be used and reused during its entire life cycle, because sustainably accessible information is resilient to changes over time in organization, technology, and processes. At the Reference Architecture Work Group, our goal is to harmonize our model with this archiving by design approach. In the current work, we would like to extend the reference architecture with views dedicated to archiving by design in order to position digital archiving tasks within this framework. On this view that you see now, for example, you can see the capabilities, the brown parts, required to fulfill the requirements of archiving by design, and the business processes, business functions realizing these capabilities. We are currently discussing this view in the working group and would like to go on with detailed business layer view created from this. The other harmonization attempt is aligning the reference architecture with the revised version of the maturity model. The maturity model is a self-assessment methodology, as Diogo presented earlier. It can assign a maturity level to organizations, indicating how prepared they are in the field of digital archive. It can also help to set goals for maturity levels, goals of maturity levels to be reached in a specific time period, and provides organizations with a clear view to see what they must accomplish to progress to the next maturity level. There are 6 maturity levels, including 0, which means non-existent, and then initial, basic, intermediate, advanced, advanced. The model defines criteria or requirements for each level. What we are currently doing is taking the existing business layer views and trying to map the maturity levels and corresponding, trying to map those criteria to the reference architecture. This is an example view of that work. The green boxes are boxes that are mentioned or functions that are mentioned in the maturity model, but were missing from our original reference architecture. The gray ones, on the other hand, are functions or elements, Archimate elements, that are part of our current reference architecture, but the maturity model doesn't say anything about them. That means that we have to consolidate these two. That's actually a two-way effort. Until now, or so far, it's been very successful. We can simplify our models and make them be aligned by adding elements that were missing to the model and to the maturity model. So in this way, this work, besides aligning the models, help us improving both the reference architecture and the maturity. This is something else we are working on at the eArchiving CSP project. This is an effort to bring solution and service providers closer to eArchiving. We are planning to create converters or crosswalks to digital archiving software. We are looking for an easy solution to make these systems E-ARK conformant without altering them. So we are taking them as black boxes and trying to access them via converters. The concept is the following. We create these crosswalks from an E-ARK SIP to their local or native SIP. And at the other end, from their DIP to an E-ARK DIP. So an E-ARK SIP is a submission information package that is E-ARK compliant. So it's according to the E-ARK SIP specification. The same with the DIP, the dissemination information package. So if we achieve this, we can do this to several solution or service providers, so OAIS systems in theory. And if we can do that, or when we will have done that, rather, and we will make a quasi E-ARK or E-ARK conformant OAIS from the original OAIS without altering it, just by using these converters. They won't be really E-ARK compliant, but much closer to that, much closer to E-ARK compliance. Currently, we are at the end of the negotiation phase with one of the solution providers, and we are hoping to start implementation very soon. Thank you.